Hello everyone, my name is Valerie and I am the artisan and owner of Mariposa Creations by Valerie and a proud brand ambassador for Redesign with Prima. Today, we're gonna take this piece from start to finish. You're gonna see the entire progression and we're gonna go into deep dives on multiple techniques. We're gonna start with decoupage, and we're going to go into some transferring, some stenciling, some gold leaf, and decor wax. If you feel like a little bit like, wow, that's a lot, don't worry. I'm a retired teacher and I will take it into step-by-step, simple directions for all of you. I want you to be successful. That's my goal. I would love it if you would follow my journey at Mariposa Creations by Valerie. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. Proper prep is key for a successful piece. I'm using trisodium phosphate in the granular form, which you can find in any home improvement store in the paint section. Clean, rinse, scuff sand. Then the piece will be ready to prime with a water-based primer. I usually apply 2 coats. Prima wants everyone to be successful with decoupage, so they give us all information about how to decoupage right in the package. I use a clothes iron set on cotton linen setting, and I place parchment paper over the fiber paper to protect it. Planning where you want the paper to be decoupaged is actually crucial before you even start the process. My 3 main tools are Prima's decoupage gel, a soft bristle brush, and gloves. I apply a coat of the decoupage gel over the surface area, and once I get a nice coat on, I immediately take the paper and press it onto the surface. Notice how I'm aligning the paper exactly where I want it to sit, and now I'm starting to smooth it with my gloves on. I'm taking off the tape, I'm pressing her into place, and now I have a piece of plastic wrap that you can get from any grocery store, and I'm smoothing out any wrinkles or air bubbles. The very best time to deal with any wrinkles or air bubbles that might develop is right now when you are applying the paper. Once your paper is smooth and wrinkle-free and air bubble-free, go ahead and give it ample dry time, at least 90 minutes. Then take your Prima crafting knife with a very sharp blade and cut all the areas that you need to cut apart. Did you know that Prima's decoupage gel is also a sealer? I immediately apply a layer of the decoupage gel over the paper to seal it, and no worries because it dries clear. I actually applied this decoupage in sections. The reason being is that this particular dresser is curved, and also the drawer dividers come out a little bit further from the actual dresser than the drawer fronts themselves. So for me, it was actually easier to apply it in sections. However, if you were lucky enough that you were working with a completely flat surface, then you can absolutely apply this decoupage in one piece. I guess my point is, I just want you to feel comfortable with however you want to decoupage. So if you want to take it in sections, or if you want to apply it in one large piece, it is totally up to you. It's really all about having fun, right? When the fiber paper is thoroughly dry, you're going to want to remove the excess paper from the drawer fronts and the dividers. The way that I do it is I take a 220 grit sandpaper and I go straight down over the paper, and it literally cuts off the excess. Here's my trick to get a smooth finish on the fiber paper. Take a 500 or greater grit sandpaper and just go over the top to remove any raised fibers. Because fiber paper is slightly thicker than any other paper like tissue paper or rice paper, I use Prima's stencil fiber paste on the edge of the paper in order to raise the edge up so that it tricks the eye, and it camouflages the edges to make it easier to extend the image with paint. I use water-based acrylic paints, multiple colors, to extend the edge of my fiber paper. The way that I do it is I look at the colors in the fiber paper, and then I find light colors in the acrylic paint, and I start to apply the paint, and I use multiple brushes to do that, but I also use water because water is going to help to blend the colors together. Sometimes design decisions change midstream. At first I was going to do something completely different with this bottom apron, but then I decided that I wanted to go ahead and just extend the image, and boy am I glad I did. It really made quite an impact on the entire piece. Once I got the basic blending down and the way I liked it, I let it dry thoroughly, and then I came back and I did some shadowing. This adds dimension. Once the decoupage and the blending was finished, I went ahead and I painted the piece in a buttery, creamy white. That really enhanced the entire image on the front. I stenciled the top in order to camouflage any of the vintage imperfections. In order to achieve symmetry, start stenciling in the center of the piece. Here I am showing how to align the pattern in order to continue with the stencil so that it looks continuous throughout. How I do it is I look for lines, and in this case I found the lines, and then what I did was I aligned the entire stencil to be level so that it would meet and go all the way up, and it would just look like one continuous pattern throughout. I really try to keep the design going along the sides of my pieces. So in this case, I use the Etoile large transfer from Redesign with Prima. I cut it apart and I applied it like it was a frame. I'm burnishing the transfer onto the surface while simultaneously pulling back the clear transfer paper away from the piece. Once the clear acetate paper is removed, I immediately burnish with a polishing pad. Once I have finished applying the entire transfer, I immediately seal it with a water-based sealer. Sometimes I use my Cricut to really elevate the design of a piece. Prima's Etoile transfer really does frame in this beauty quote perfectly. The very first design decision that I made was to use gold leaf. The application of gold leaf can be a little tricky, especially to newbies. So my advice for the new people out there is to practice on a piece of wood or something other than your project. Once you feel more confident, then go ahead and apply it to your piece. Here are the steps. Apply the gilding glue. Let the glue become tacky to the touch. Lay your gold leaf over it. Once dry, brush with a soft bristle brush. Before applying the decor wax, always seal your piece with a water-based sealer. Now, the decor wax is oil-based, so that is literally the last thing that I do. You can either apply the decor wax with your finger or you can use an artist's brush. It's completely your choice. Now the piece is officially done and I can celebrate. What do you think?